Ultimately, when I reflect on my childhood and my young adult life with drugs and alcohol, not only the addiction, but with that came chaos and darkness, spirits of suicide, everything. My life, once the drugs and alcohol started, it was a horrible, I describe it sometimes as like a hamster in a wheel, and that's all I did. Like I couldn't drink enough, I couldn't drug enough, nothing was enough. There were many, many years that I did not want to be alive. I felt too addicted, too far into this life of addiction and alcoholism that there was no way out.
Right.
And so my mind, all it could think to do was die.
Hi, my name is Michael Moore, and I am the founder of Created to Recover. We are finally back with project number 3. Our last project was completed in 2019. Since then, much has happened, but I'm grateful we get to share our wonderful guest and her powerful story. I pray that the testimony and makeover you're about to witness inspires and encourages you to know that you too were created to recover. I present to you the testimony of Jennifer Sippial. Jennifer, thank you for being a part of our third Created to Recover project and for sharing your wonderful story of recovery with us.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Tell us your story.
Okay. I just want to start at the very beginning. I was born in a really small town, Ozark, Alabama, to a really sweet, big family. My childhood was very sweet. I remember being loved. My parents got a divorce I was really young, at a very young age. And my mother, she was married a few times. And so most of my childhood is in and out of different homes, but it was still very sweet. I remember being loved a lot. There just wasn't a lot of structure. My mother was married 5 times, and so I longed for a father for a long time. And she would bring men in and out of our lives, and so I would get attached easily. And so I feel like that probably plays a big part in my history and my journey in this walk of life. I got married at a really young age, 19 years old, and I had my first child, Jenna, at 20, and things were going pretty smooth. And then I started drinking. So a few tragic things happened during my childhood, and as an adult, alcohol tend to make me not think of those things and not remember those things. So I started drinking at a very young age. And the first time that I did drugs, you hear the story all the time that don't do it one time that it could have you. Well, in my situation, in my story, that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
And so I wasn't a big partier most of my life, but as a young adult, I went on a bachelorette party, and they had some extracurricular activities, and I joined in thinking nothing would happen.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of what the enemy does, is he uses, he tricks us into thinking that those things of the world are fun and that they're good. And it started the darkest journey of my life. I had Jenna and Jace, both my children, at 20 and 25 years old. And so that was beautiful. But then it just, without the Lord, my life was just chaotic. And so I ended up getting a divorce and moving to Montgomery. I was going to school the whole time. I always worked. I always went to school. I was trying to fulfill that, all the good things that you're supposed to do in life. But the enemy just had a different plan for me. And without the love of Jesus and without knowing, the Lord, I was on my own, and the enemy devoured me. So I started drinking at like 15 in high school, like everybody else did. And my whole family drank. That was just kind of how you drank and you listened to music and you made bonfires, and that's just kind of what we did. And most of my family still can do that. But there are some of us that, you take one drink and then that's it. I was raised during the 70s and 80s, and so my parents were wild. My mother drank all of her life. And my mother was an addict. She made horrible decisions that, during my childhood would cause me in the future to make horrible decisions.
So I see some generational things happening.
Correct. So I ended up divorcing my husband. I moved to Montgomery, and then I made some horrible decisions. My children lived in Ozark with their father, and then I would get them every other weekend, and just some horrible decisions that caused me to have shame and guilt. And with that shame and guilt came more alcohol use and more drug abuse. And so I worked in the restaurant industry, which is really good for an addict, because I was able to feed my addiction through drugs and alcohol. I would take Xanaxes, and then I would use cocaine. So I liked uppers. I wanted to feel, wild and alive and all those things. And that's the disease is horrible. And that's what happens. Those drugs take over the natural, your natural chemicals and your natural hormones. And then that's all I wanted.
Right.
And so, but it went to, I became addicted to Adderall, which you think is okay because it's prescribed by a doctor. Well, then that's not enough. And so then I would go to the streets to get Adderall. And I had about a $500 to $800 drug habit a week just with that. It was insane. So in the process of doing all this, I lose everything about Jennifer and Jenna and Jace, my children. And as a mother, we were created to be mothers. We were created to be wives. That's how God created us. And when you lose that, then I was completely out of order. And I didn't know that at the time, but I do. I know that now.
So when you lose yourself, you also lose your worth and value.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, as long as I was drinking and drugging, it was okay because it took all that away, which makes you have to stay in that pattern. So anytime I would come out of drinking or out of addiction, that I would start remembering or I would start feeling, and then I had to go right back into it, which caused severe anxiety. It caused lots and lots of depression, and it also caused lots of spirit of darkness. There were many, many years that I did not want to be alive. I felt too addicted, too far into this life of addiction and alcoholism that there was no way out.
Right.
And so my mind, all it could think to do was die. And so I spent lots of years in and out of mental health. I took lots of medication. And then about 10 years ago, my mother got sick with cancer. And she had been diagnosed with cancer when she was very young and then was in remission for 16 years. And then it came back very radical, breast cancer, that it took her life. And that sent my addiction completely.
Because you didn't know how to deal with
her death.
Her death.
Yeah. And
so it went from bad to worse.
Way worse. It did. And that made me neglect my children even more, which causes more shame and more guilt and more depression and more anxiety and more thoughts of death. I'm actually a 3-time suicide survivor.
Wow.
So the enemy was very busy with me.
What was that like for you?
It was horrible. It was horrible. It really was. Sometimes I try to describe it to people that I don't know what's worse, wanting to die or being dead. That's a hard way to live. And so I was constantly, all I did was drink, drug, go to bed. I would work until 1 or 2 in the morning. I would go out till 5 or 6 in the morning, and then I would just crash and burn and then get up and do the same thing every day. It was a vicious cycle that was killing me. And in the midst of all of that, a lot of beautiful things happened. The man that I'm married to now, my husband Count, and I actually dated during my addiction. And God placed us perfectly in a home that had, and this is a really big part of my story. I lived in the upper part of the house in an apartment, and below me was a young lady that was going to church, that worked in ministry, and I hated her. I did. I could not stand her. I'm like, what is she doing? She's so perfect. And why is she up so early? You know, I'm smoking cigarettes and drinking wine at 5 a.m, and she's getting ready to go walk. And I'm like, what are you doing with your life? So she starts praying for me. And I can't tell you, like, a lot of what I have, my memories are feelings, because God's really, really sweet.
Right.
And he doesn't reveal things to you until you're ready.
Right.
So a lot of that first few months of my recovery, I can tell you what it felt like, but I can't really tell you what I did.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But what God did is he put this woman, this beautiful young lady in my path, and she started praying for me. And things started happening. And that's when the Lord started really working.
So would you say that was the turning point for your journey to recovery?
Most definitely. Most definitely. So my husband at the time was my boyfriend, of course, and he connects with this lady. Her name is Elizabeth, not this lady. Her name is Elizabeth, and she is probably, my guardian angel that the Lord sent to pray. She interceded on behalf for me, and it worked. So
Prayer works.
It works. She started interceding. She started praying, and then all these miracles just started happening. God, it was divine appointment, divine flow. He started putting people in my path, and on Mondays I would be off work, and I would have people over, and we would smoke cigarettes and drink beer and party on the balcony while they were having Bible study in the house below me, and we would make fun of them. And then about 3 months later, I was in that small group, in that living room, broken. People would green in color because I was so sick. And God just started miraculously working in my life.
What made you attend the Bible study?
Well, during all of this time, God started orchestrating these divine appointments between Elizabeth and I. And I really had just started praying. I was like, God, I can't do this. I knew that I needed rehab, but I didn't have insurance. I worked in a restaurant. I didn't have, insurance to go to rehab. And my husband and I, again, were dating. And we were not together at the time. And I knew that if I didn't go to rehab, that I was going to die. And so I laid on my floor one night, and I distinctively remember just praying, God, take me. I just want my body to catch up with my soul and my spirit and my mind. I'm done. And I laid on that floor, and I called Count. And I said, I'm done. I'm done. And he said, I'm going to come over. And so he came over, and he said, Jennifer, if you lock that door and turn the world off, I will help you. And so I quit my job. I was a restaurant bar manager. I quit my job. I told everyone that I moved, and he took care of me, and I detoxed with Count and the Holy Spirit, and God just began to radically transform my life.
I am Jessica Lynch, and today I am the makeup artist. So today for Miss Jennifer, I'm thinking about going natural glam. Still, she wears no makeup at all, so it still will be a step out of her box. I might give her a few little surprises here or there, but for the most part, we're gonna enhance her natural beauty. So far, I cleaned up her brows. I did her eyeshadow and lashes and things. And she has foundation on and concealer and everything, but she's not set her in contour or anything yet. So, I just did the base. We're almost done. I think she's already a really cute girl, But I think she's gonna be like hot. When we're done.
Hi, my name is Corey Rush. Today I am the hairstylist. And today for the client, we're gonna be creating something that she's familiar with, but something that's different. Something with texture and movement to help enhance her natural curls, because she's a curly girl. I'm excited to see how the outcome will be and to be working with the team again today. Right now I am curling her hair to create some volume and texture. Her natural texture is curly, but we wanted to try something a little different. So I'm gonna curl it to get the style, and once the makeup is done, then we'll finish product.
Tanya Duncan, and I am one of the stylists today. I met Miss Jennifer about a week and a half ago. The look that I'm going for today is something that's romantic, flowy, and I can't wait to see the finishing product. I am making sure that Miss Jennifer is snatched in all the right places. The look that we went with for her, again, is more of a goddessy look. So it's going to accent and bring some life to her her skin complexion and just make her look more of the queen that she already is.
Hi, my name is Darlene Hill, and I'm a fashion stylist. I will be styling our client Jennifer today in a casual look. Jennifer is a little reserved, and so she shared that with us. So I've chosen for her a very casual look, yet with a pop of glam. I'm excited to get started, and I look forward to the finished product.
Right there. Oh, on a shirt. Yeah. You don't have scissors. Michael might have some.
We paired the crop top with a pair of light trousers that pleated, wide leg, flowy like, and I think as a great combination to giving her the glam look that we intended to give her for this photo shoot. And we're going to add a nice flowy black blazer to it as well. I think this kind of tops off the outfit for the evening.
I live in that house now that I was in 7 years ago, that I was in that home being prayed over and raking, and God just started peeling back all the layers of hurt and shame and guilt and remorse. And you can imagine that from where I come, that my family was not healthy. I had 2 adult children that were riddled with anxiety and depression. They did not know how to be quote unquote normal adults, because I had not taught them that.
Right.
But I had not been taught that either. So God just began, and this is a 7-year process. October 22nd of this year, I will have 7 years of sobriety. And so
That's excellent.
it's a big deal. It's been a beautiful, amazing, tragic journey. And I use that word because there's been tragedy, but God has taken everything that the enemy meant to destroy me, and he is turning it to good. He is turning it to good. My children are adults and they are thriving. Things aren't perfect, but God never said that they would be.
Mm-hmm.
He said troubles are coming.
Right.
I've actually graduated from ministry college. So you take the bartender, the adulterer, the woman at the well.
Right.
You take all these things, and I have miracle after miracle that God's done in my life. I've graduated from ministry college. I've been on 2 mission trips. I have completely poured my life into this relationship with Jesus, and he is changing everything. My children are thriving. My son is married. He's in the Army. His wife actually just graduated from flight attendant school yesterday. They're doing it.
Excellent.
They're not at it.
Excellent.
They're not, God is just transforming my children's life.
Started with you,
Yes.
the curse breaker.
Yes.
Since you're on the other side of addictions and everything, how would you describe your life now?
I'm highly favored. I'm blessed. Walking with Jesus is hard. To not be of the world is hard. Believe it or not, it's very easy to live in addiction. It's hard when you're in there, and it's deadly and it's dangerous, but it's easy because that's my flesh, and I'm feeding that flesh. And so when you boldly walk in a relationship with Jesus Christ, it's hard because my flesh wants to run back to where it came from, but not a chance. Not me. I'm saved and I'm covered in the blood of Jesus, and I love it. And I love the Lord, and he has opened up opportunities that I'm just so thankful. Who would have thought that I would be sitting here talking to you about freedom and about love and life and light? My life was dark, and people that know me now, they don't have a clue. It blows their mind. They're like, what? And so people that know me from my past, they're just like, we can't believe it, and we're so thankful. And I'm so thankful that you're alive, because I was close to death.
Redemption is real.
It is. It is real.
Thank you so much for sharing your awesome testimony, and I'm sure that many people who view this film will be blessed by it, and will find hope that they can recover as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Michael.
You look to the sky and you see the puzzle pieces of your life flying high. You're really frustrated 'cause you don't see how they come together. There's that you can do anything you want, be anything you want. Why is it so hard to follow the blue? Can over that you can do anything you want, be anything you want.